Hey everyone, this is Big Mike with the It Chapter 2 review. Got my boy Dave here with me today, the big time movie buff. I'm more of the comics guy, do a lot of movies and all kinds of reviews as well. But my boy Dave here, he's more of a, movie buff, loves horror. He also has a podcast coming soon. Dave, tell me about your podcast.
Hey Mike, thanks for having me on your show.
No problem.
I enjoy it. We're going to have some fun, talk about some movies. I do have a podcast coming soon. It's called the Primetime Horror Show. It's brought to you by Sacrificial Pawn Productions. We're in the process of getting it going. Hopefully in the next couple weeks we'll be up and running, and we'll get together, a couple friends of mine. We're going to be talking a bunch of horror movies, just getting together. It's going to be a good time. We're just going to have some fun, talk some movies, and I think it's going to be good.
Awesome, looking forward to that. Catch this podcast. And this is actually a perfect segue because today we're talking about It Chapter 2. So It Chapter 1 was very successful. Everyone loved it for the most part. I know I was one of the ones who loved it.
Yeah, I loved it.
It was great. I really loved the dynamic with the losers. As kids, the actors that portrayed their characters were fantastic. And in It Chapter 2, it didn't disappoint in the actor perspective. All of the actors who were reprised the roles as the adult children, fantastic. Do you agree?
Yeah, because the kids, when they got together in It Chapter 1, I thought the characters were great. They matched with the stories with the book. They actually showed more what was involved with the book than the actual 90s miniseries. And the kids, they all matched well together. They had a great chemistry, and I loved it. Chapter 1 was great.
I love Chapter 1. Now, getting into Chapter 2. It was a good movie. It was good. I enjoyed it. However, it was about a half an hour too long, which I thought.
Yeah, it's a little long.
It was a half an hour too long. The pace, like the first act of the movie, I absolutely loved it. I love the first act of the movie. Then, the second act was kind of dragging. By the time we got to the third act, I was ready for the third act. And it got better. There were some surprises there. This is going to be the non-spoiler review. I forgot to say that earlier. Sorry. This review is going to be a non-spoiler review. We're also going to do a spoiler review. So non-spoilers this time. So the final act, when the losers fight Pennywise, for the championship belt. It changed a lot for the better, I'd say, if you know the book and actually if you saw the miniseries from 1990. It was a better ending, but it wasn't saying much. I mean, it wasn't that, but it was still pretty dumb.
I would say I really, really liked this movie. I thought it was very good. It exceeded my expectations. But yes, it is a tad too long, and that middle section there kind of drags. And I thought they could have expanded a little more on their what they've been doing for the last 27 years. I figured they kind of rushed it in the center in the beginning. But yes, the ending, it can be a little cheesy, but you got to go with the original ending to the book is kind of one of these endings you really can't film and make it into a movie.
Exactly.
So it's kind of I like what they gave us, and it definitely is a huge step up from what that 90s miniseries gave us.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed the film. I thought it was definitely, it completed the story. I was very happy with how it ended, and I mean, it was really good.
Yeah, I enjoyed the film. I enjoyed the movie. Like I said, same problems. I mean, there were some really the scenes in this movie. There were more, I would say, jump scares.
Yeah,
they had a lot of creepier creatures in it. Like the what was that? The scene in the Chinese restaurant. Like all those creepy little things they had coming out. Like I said, spoiler free. But it was just a lot more, I say, creepy aspects to this movie. More jump scares. Like in Chapter 1, it was more they had Pennywise had an agenda. He's after people in Derry. He has a limited amount of time, and you had a few jump scares, but it was more like, I don't know. I just think it was more like suspenseful in chapter 1, and this one was more like in your face kind of horror.
Yeah, that's the best thing I like about this version or this chapter is that they went there, like they wanted to go hardcore, and they did. The deaths are far more brutal.
Yeah, they were.
The suspense is there. Like I said, that's the second half of the film can be a little drag.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I really enjoyed it. I think it's great. It completes the story. It tells you where you want to go. It tells you what they want you to kind of go with the story without having to spoil it. The ending, like I say, it was a little of a bit of a letdown, but like I say, the ending of the book is kind of unfilmable. You can't really film and make it into a movie and not be silly.
Even the ending of the original TV series in 1990, I mean, that was pretty silly as well. I mean, especially they didn't have a large budget. They had that claymation spider. And so this one was probably, out of all the source material we've gotten so far, we had the book, we've had the TV series, and now we've had It Chapter 2. This was definitely the best ending of the 3.
Yeah.
Even though it still was kind of silly, but it was still the best out of the 3.
Yeah, because when you ask anybody about the original 90s miniseries, everybody loves that first part. And I can kind of say that, people might say the same thing with this, because that first movie, 2017, it was phenomenal. It's the best horror movie in the last,
I'm inclined to agree.
A lot of money. And this here is, again, we're back to the Losers Club being the older, and it's a little not less interesting when you're going against adults. But with this cast, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And they know how to, they play off each other well. The chemistry is brilliant. Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise, again, is brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
He lives that character. He knows what he's doing. I feel like when you see him, like you say, he's there. Do you feel that he was not as present this time around?
Yeah, I kind of feel like Pennywise took kind of a back seat this time. They wanted to show more of the losers and their camaraderie. I believe it was a little less Pennywise. Now, in the final act, we got a lot of Pennywise.
Yeah,
so I mean, it made up for it. But I do think, like, throughout the duration of the movie, we did get a little less Pennywise, because it was, especially the second act, where it dragged a bit. I'm sitting there, I'm like, where's Pennywise? Can Pennywise come back? Where's he at? I want to see more, of Pennywise right now.
Like, the pacing in the second half is a little slow, but it's getting to story of what these characters are doing and how they're trying to reclaim what happened when they were children to what's going on now.
Yeah, and I would say, like, standout characters, like you said, Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise, Bill Hader as Adult Richie. Man, I mean, he was great. I mean, of course, James McAvoy.
McAvoy's great. James Ransom is great as Adult Eddie.
Yep.
I liked his character, and I think I've been reading a lot of stories with Bill Hader getting a lot of heat, but he's one you need to look out for too, because he's just as great.
And don't forget about Isaiah Mustafa. I mean, he actually played the adult Mike, and the adult Mike was kind of, you could tell he never left Derry. And you could kind of tell, like, a person who's lived in a small town all his life, he had all this traumatic stuff happen to him as a kid. He remembers everything, and he was kind of all over the place. He was a little nuts.
Yeah.
And Isaiah Mustafa really played that well. He was kind of like a little all over the place. He was kind of shaky. He's trying to get his point across, like, really fast.
Right.
And he played it really well. And you're thinking, like, this is the Old Spice guy?
Yeah.
And, like, he actually has, like, a really good role.
And you can really tell that these actors studied the 2017 film and their children and how they acted.
Yep.
And how
very believable as the grown-up their counterparts.
Yeah. So it's like, that's what I'm saying. You're watching it and it's like, man, we really getting to see these characters be adults and how they really are.
Yeah. Like overall, like I said, I really enjoyed the film overall. I'd probably give it B minus C plus. I'd give it maybe, I'm leaning more towards C plus. Dave, what would you give it?
I must have liked it more than you did, because I'll give it a B plus, maybe A minus, because I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
Like I said, it does get a little pacing, it's a little slow in some scenes, but I was really looking forward to it. I had high expectations, and I don't feel I was let down. I think it was the ending, again, it's a little silly, but
it was still better than what we had before.
It was better than what it was in the 90s. And like I say, if you've read the book, you know the ending, and it's kind of unfilmable to make it without it look very cheesy.
Exactly.
So
let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you saw the movie, hit me up. Let me know what your thoughts was. Once again, hit the bell for notifications for all my latest content. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this video. Dave, give a shout out to your podcast again. Where can you find it?
We can find it. We have a Facebook page called Primetime Horror Show. We're should be up and working in a couple of weeks. We're still in pre-production. We're getting everything together. And they say if you like horror movies and you like to listen to certain movies, we're going to do some older fashioned horror films with newer horror films. And it's just me and a couple friends. We're going to get together, and that's what we like to do. We like to talk horror, and it's good times. We're going to have some fun.
Awesome. So check Dave out. Please come back. My loyal watchers and subscribers to my channel here. And as always, thanks for watching, and see you next time.